Good evening, everybody. My name is Jose Rodriguez. I'm in Dr. Stark's class, Group Dynamics. The purpose of this video is to give you the insight into the group meeting that I held. My group was titled Real Talk, Father Figure Role Models. And so I'd just like to start off with giving an introduction of how the meeting went. The meeting was held September 28, 2017. It was from 7 o'clock at night to 8:30 at night. And the reason for the time constraint was because we have to be mindful of everybody's home life and not keeping everybody so late. Just be respectful of everybody's time. There was no co-leader involved. Basically, this meeting was for those men that wanted to sign up and be a part of something where they could get wisdom and guidance and possibly be able to relate to some of the struggles that most men have as a father, as a husband, even just being in that role model figurehead for somebody. They wanted to see if they're the only ones that are going through certain struggles, whether it be patience, whether it be anger, or any other things that they feel they may be struggling in, that they could better themselves at and become a better man for it and be a better role model as a father figure if they're not their biological children. So the group dynamic context and process, basically I gave a brief introduction of myself to the class. Most of the people that were involved in this meeting are church-going members of my church. I do not have anybody that I really know personally on a one-on-one level because the church is so diverse and big. So the meeting was progressing a little slow, and only because after I gave my short bio and background information on myself, I asked each individual to share a little bit about themselves. It was 8 people in total, and so some had more to say than others, so that kind of slowly progressed. The setting is very relaxed, it's informal, and also it was kept to open questioning and open-ended questions, how I did it. So I started off with an open question and asked, who feels like they struggle in an area as a father, as a husband, or just plainly a role model in somebody's life that they feel like that they could develop and strengthen? But before anyone answers, as I told them, I wanted to be transparent. And so I gave an example of what I struggled with, and that was a lot of it had to do with anger and patience. And so to show that transparency, they could see and that not just because I'm a leader, I'm immune from any of the struggles that they deal with, but it helps them because now they could relate and go, wait a minute, I see him in this leadership capacity in this ministry, but yet he seems like he's doing good. So I want to tell them that they're, just because there's a struggle there doesn't mean that there can't be something greater on the other end that God could change in their lives and develop. And so I just gave a testimony about that, how God brought me out of that anger and not having patience on certain things to where there's peace. And I find joy in some of the struggles that I may face because I know that the storm is not going to last long, basically. And at the end of the storm, the rain that's poured down is actually going to cause the grass to grow, the flowers to blossom. So that's just an example or analogy that I use because everybody gets so caught up on the bad things. The self-assessment, I think, and reflecting, I would like to be better in cutting off people in a manner that I'm not, in a manner that I'm polite, and because I don't want conflict, I tend to let people take over the group. I've noticed that, and I wish I could cut off people so that I could allow others to give their input. The conclusion, the highlight of my experience was seeing men of different ethnicity and age share with each other, and seeing that we all face the same struggles regardless of your background, culture, race, ethnicity. We have a commonality, and I think that the future meetings, I can look back and start doing those things as far as learning how to use the technique to cut off, and probably even using rounds even more to individually. So make a list of questions for each member once I get to know them on a deeper level as the meetings progress. I also may think about having a co-leader to help me balance the different personalities and the dynamic of the group. I think it would be a great help. And finally, my final thoughts on this is that God didn't create us to live life by ourselves, to go through this journey by ourselves. And so He wanted us to have relationships, people in our lives that will help us, build us, and not just we take, but also give and also help them. And so I leave you with one of my favorite scriptures, and that is Proverbs 27:17 from the New Living Translation. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. And so I leave you with that scripture because I want you to see that we are here to build each other up, to help strengthen each other, and grow in a positive manner where we can impact the world and they can see the light which is in us, who is Jesus Christ. So I just thank you for your time, and I hope you have a blessed weekend. Thank you.